What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm very excited to be bringing you an overview of a knife that's been shown many times on this channel, but it's never actually got its own review. This is the Benchmade Griptilian 551-1701, which is actually another DLT exclusive. We do a lot of those on this channel. It has carbon fiber scales that are kind of unique. You know, the general Griptilian scales have some contouring. This is more flat on top, and then it has some mild milling or texturing on the carbon fiber. And then, of course, you have an M390 blade you can see up there at the top. So, really cool. This isn't going to be so much a review as it is just a general overview because I've already thoroughly reviewed the Griptilian. I just really like this model. You know, this is one of those that I suggested to David. I told him, you know, you need to handle a Griptilian, see what you think. And so we picked out this version because I thought this is interesting. It's a something I haven't shown on the channel, and it's one that, you know, if it were me, this is a Griptilian that I would go after. So, David, thank you again for supplying me with this knife for content. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on here. We'll go ahead and do our measurement first. This knife overall is right on the dot, 8 inches. Blade length looks to be just shy of 3.5, 3.4. The cutting edge is probably 3.3, something like that. All right, and first up for size comparison, let's do the Ontario Rat Model 1. Ontario Rat Model 1 coming in at 8.6 inches. We'll keep her short here. How about the Paramilitary 2? Paramilitary 2 coming in at 8.4 inches overall. And the Spyderco Delica coming in at about 7 inches overall. So, the Benchmade Griptilian is well known as one of the best EDC knives of all time. You know, the original being FRN and 154CM. They have recently moved to FRN and S30V for about $110. Big thumbs up to Benchmade on that move. I'd love it if you got rid of those FRN scales and gave us G10, but hey, you know, going to S30V, we're moving in the right direction. So that's great. But just in overall size and performance, you know, blade shape, the price for the most part, and weight. By the way, this guy weighs about 4.2 ounces. So this has been the Benchmade Griptilian is a famous EDC knife and has been one of the, the champions in terms of EDC for a very, very long time. These are just excellent knives, both in function and honestly, I think the Griptilian is what got people, you know, into the fidget factor of the axis lock. And I really enjoy that, especially on this knife. This knife came, by the way, if you're considering this particular version, these run $233 at DLT Trading. This came with beautiful action, very smooth. It did come ever so slightly off-centered, but I have managed to remedy that, just with the, messing with the pivot screw a little bit there. On this version, you have hardware similar to the upgraded version, the Dash 1 G10 and 20 CV version, where you have the female end in the front as far as the pivot goes, and then you have these Chicago screws in the front versus, more screws that connect to a standoff. And then the screws on the other side screw all the way into them. On this version, you also have some really beautiful brass standoffs there. And instead of the regular pocket clip, it does come with the deep carry clip, which is awesome. This is, there are truthfully very many versions of the Benchmade Griptilian that a lot of people would consider the perfect Griptilian. But this is one of those that's out there, that's an exclusive, that for a lot of people, it's going to check a lot of boxes. The price is not something that a lot of people are going to be okay with swallowing. $160 or so, we've got... That's kind of more of a price that people are happier to pay, especially with the Doug Ritter RSK MK2 out there by Hogue being it's like $150, $160, and it's G10 and M390, and then I don't think it's Knife Center. I think it's Knife Works that has a micarta and M390 version of this for 60, 170, something like that. So there's a lot of really cool versions of it out there that have really good blade steels and things like that. If you want to pay the extra money and go for the carbon fiber, I can say this. It looks very beautiful. There are no flaws in the carbon fiber. I really enjoy the smooth parts of this. It's not a contoured handle. And I enjoy that texturing there. I'm not, it kind of, your index finger falls right on that texturing as you wrap up, and it feels nice. It's just a nice, it's a nice setup on the handle. No complaints there. For tradition's sake, let's go ahead and do the paper cut test. Before we do that, though, let's have a look at the blade stock. You've got a 0.1, well, officially it's like 0.115 stock thickness on the blade, 0.12, something like that. You've got a pretty substantial flat before we get to a part where the blade is dropping down to the cutting edge. But these get, fairly thin behind the edge. They do cut pretty well. I'll go so far as to say they actually cut really, really well. I have no issue there whatsoever. If you've never had a Griptilian or never used one, they are an absolute joy to use, both the drop point blade and the sheep's foot blade. Actually, I would really, really like to see somebody do an exclusive like this one with the sheep's foot blade. In fact, I'll be honest, after all that Flytanium stuff dropped on Blade HQ, it got me thinking, even though titanium scales made by Flytanium for the Benchmade Griptilian are not necessarily new, they're kind of new, I am really thinking about getting myself a titanium sheep's foot 20 CV Griptilian and then outfitting it with titanium scales. I just am. But anyways, these blades are ground in a way that is very pleasurable to use. They glide through material no problem. Benchmade has that odd kind of toothy edge. It's not going to have that glassy feel if you drag your fingernail across it like like the paramilitary 2 would. But it absolutely does just destroy paper. No problem. It's going to carve right through there. As always, the nice thing about the Griptilian, the Griptilian is one of the only other knives besides the Hinderer XM18 that has such a vast sea of modular parts for it. Except that, it's one of the knives that's on Benchmade's custom shop creator program where you can go and you can build your own Griptilian, and that's cool. A lot of times what you end up with though is people max out the Griptilian with G10 and either M4 and 20 CV, and they're coming to the conclusion like, wow, this thing's going to end up costing me $225 or more from Benchmade. I don't know, I'm guessing there, but I've played with it before and I was kind of shocked at the end price. And you are getting exactly what you want, and that's good. It's just you're going to pay for it. But if you do just buy a base version of it, which again now is the S30V, you can go on the aftermarket, Etsy, eBay. There's a million different places, and you can get layered G10 scales with different colored liners. You can get custom titanium standoffs to sort of coordinate with whatever colors you're looking for on the scales. You can, I think I've even seen like custom thumb studs, definitely custom pocket clips. This is another Lego knife. Truly as expansive as the Hinderer XM18 in terms of customization. And I think that's really what makes the Griptilian beautiful. On top of it being just an excellent EDC knife and falling right smack dab in the middle of a lot of people's, what people want from an EDC knife in terms of blade length. Just shy of 3.5 inches. It's on that 8-inch mark. It's right around 4 ounces. That's kind of, as the EDC Bible puts it, like that's right there as just about perfect. The Griptilian really touched home with a lot of people. Of course, there are people who don't like the axis lock, people who don't trust the Omega springs. I will say that having to worry about tiny little Omega springs doesn't put the most pleasant idea in my mind, though I have never actually experienced an Omega spring breaking, so I can't really say how likely that is. It's just something to consider. This is one of those knives where the thumb stud and the relationship to the pivot is so perfect that it creates this. You know when like you go to flip a really awesome flipper for the first time, like the ZT0562, and you break that detent and it just, wha-cha, you know, it has that feeling where the blade kicks out and snaps against the, actually on that one, the lugs brace against the frame, and then the frame lock pops into place, but the sound mixed with the feeling of it locking up just feels good. This is like the thumb stud version of that. This and the Benchmade 940 have the absolute best fidget factor in terms of thumb stud deployment and the axis lock manipulation because of where the thumb studs are in relationship to the pivot. It's just, it's so crisp and well done. You know, I don't know how else to explain that, but you can watch here the effort. It's just, it really wants to be a thumb stud deployer. And has achieved that. There are many knives out there that want to be thumb stud deployers and they're just not. It's like if you really enjoy the Rat 1 for a thumb stud deployer, I think you're going to enjoy the Benchmade Griptilian even more. Just about everybody has handled some form of the Benchmade Griptilian by now. I don't think that I know that there are still people out there who have just never bought one, and I know that this knife just isn't going to speak to some people, and that's perfectly fine. It's not like, you know, buying a Griptilian is a rite of passage. Though, isn't it funny though? It kind of seems like that. It's like between the forums and, you know, the Instagram groups and the YouTube channels, it's almost like owning a Griptilian is a rite of passage as a knife guy. That's not true at all. It's just funny. It's one of those things. It's like you know, you have to own the Paramilitary 2, the Benchmade Griptilian, or the ZT0562. You know, it's like one of those things is a rite of passage into the knife world. But no, that's not true at all. You don't need to. But it's funny. So the Benchmade Griptilian is an excellent knife. This is an excellent version of it. If you've been eyeing it, I can tell you it is a beautiful knife in person, and it's an awesome one to add. You know, if you're a collector, this is a great one to add to your collection. Really, really nice all the way around. Definitely going to be one that I hang on to, or that I have David hang on to, or I hope that he hangs on to for a really long time, because this is just a really, really awesome knife. You'll see it a lot. You know, the main purpose for the PM2 and the Griptilian were for size comparisons on this channel, just because they make good size comparisons. You know, people are used to seeing them. You see the Rat 1, the Griptilian, the Para 2, and the Delica in a lot of my recent videos, and that's because everybody's handled them, and they make great size comparisons for the stuff that I'm showing that not everybody has handled, you know. So this is an excellent knife. I urge you to check out a version of the Griptilian if you are considering it already, and you're just not sure. Then of course, yes, absolutely. The Benchmade Griptilian is one that I can heavily recommend. It's one of the most perfect EDC knives that are out there, and this version of it would make an excellent user. I urge you to check this out, or any number of Griptilians that are out there right now, whether it be the standard, the upgraded in 20CV, or the exclusives available through some of the other retailers. These are just awesome knives. But that's pretty much it today, guys. It was just going to be a short and sweet video, just something to look at, something to watch. We have a lot of really, really cool stuff coming. I don't want to ruin anything. I have heard you guys loud and clear on the stuff you want me to review, and I am happy to say that at least one of the knives that a lot of people are requesting is already on its way, even before I made that video. But we're going to try and figure out which of the knives you guys have suggested, which are, you know, being repeated the most, and then grab, you know, 2-3 of those, something like that. Maybe, you know, we're going to talk about it. But we'll try and get those for you. But anyways, that's pretty much it for today, guys. I appreciate everybody watching, everybody subscribing. It's been awesome here recently. I can't believe how many people are subscribing and watching and commenting. It's just been great. I'm having a lot of fun with this channel, so I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so please check those videos out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there is definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.